Hey everybody, what's going on? Good evening. Welcome to the Raven County Rag. Hope everybody's having a great week. Uh, hmm. Yeah. Let me get these headphones off and we'll get started. I gotta mute some of this. Let's see what we got going on. All right. How about that? There we go. All right. I didn't think I was going to get to be here tonight. Darned old Starlink crapped out on me this afternoon. And had to do a factory reset and everything else. That's the second time it happened. Made me wonder if he wasn't under some kind of cyber attack. What do y'all think about this old harmonica? It's got a little... It'll pick... It's got some... Anyway, it needs to be cleaned, and I hadn't done it yet. I might do that early Saturday morning, get up and come down here in the office and disassemble that thing and get it cleaned up. Y'all tell me what you think. Anyway, welcome. Raven County Rag. Who are we? We are a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our families, community, culture, and environment. We exchange ideas, resources, and information. And look up here, guys. I made a little I made a little logo. Y'all tell me what you think. I don't know if I can enlarge it or not. I don't want to try it. I screw something up. But anyway, little logo. If y'all want a copy of that logo, give me a buzz. Hit me up on the messaging or whatever, and we'll see about getting you some. If there's enough demand, we'll print them up. And the other thing I did is I printed up the Rabun County seal. Says it's from 1819. I don't know if I can. Let me see how this will work. Raven County seal, state of Georgia. Look, it's got some Indian heads and some. I can't tell what a lot of that is. Maybe some of y'all know. Anyway, a fish. Anyway, y'all check it out. I don't know how big I should make it. Let's see if I can make that up. Here we go. Check that out. Raven County Rag. Of course, I can change these if y'all got a better idea. I feel like I'm the Lone Ranger out here making this stuff up as I go. I'll take any suggestions or help I can get. Anyway, that's who we are. Raven County Rag. A community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our families, community, culture, and environment. We exchange ideas, resources, and information. What are we grateful for this week? I know I am grateful that I didn't have to cut grass this week. I cut it last week, about wore me out. I did it last Friday. Whoo-wee. I got up Friday morning, my normal routine, and went for a walk, and then went to the grocery store, and then got started on the grass. Whew. Man, I didn't do no weed eating or blowing. I just cut it. I guess I ain't cutting it this week. I'll do it next week. It'll be all right, I'm sure. But that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful I didn't have to cut that grass. So there's always something to be grateful for. And I'm also grateful that I actually got a lot of my other workload done yesterday so that I could work on some other stuff. I've got another channel. I'll show it to you. I developed this right here this past week for my other channel, MCB Ventures, Construction, Safety, and Leadership. That's my other gig there. I've been at that for a long time, and I got that put together. And got a couple other things put together. You can see them here. This is another channel that I've got. But anyway, and I worked on this one. And then Plurifora, she helped me with the script for this evening. We got some stuff we want to try and talk about. But it's great living here in Rabun County. I think I've been here, I can't remember whether it was 8 or 9 years this past spring. I don't know if I might have mentioned the story before, but as a young man starting in high school, I was big into the outdoor stuff, and back then we had a course called Outdoor Education. Frank Godfrey, and I can't remember the other teacher, but they had a powerful impact on my life. And we would go hiking and backpacking and camping in state parks all over the state of Georgia. Went everywhere, and it was sanctioned by the high school. Had outdoor education, that licensing that just started coming out in the day there, where you had to have a hunter safety course before you can get your hunting license. And I took that in high school, and I was one of those kids. I had a motorcycle before I had a car, and if I had to work, the other kids would take off and be gone, and I would rendezvous with them, and I'd load my backpack up and get on the motorcycle, and I would ride clean up out of Cobb County down around Atlanta and ride all the way up here just so I could go camping. And then when my children were young, 2 or 3 times a year, we'd be up here camping and fishing. So this has always been a part of my life. And I always told myself when I got ready to hang up the old work boots that, matter of fact, my shoes are still on. Hold on, let me kick my shoes off. Try and get my old feet to heal up. Wearing boots for 30, 40 years and wearing them for 10, 12 hours a day can mess up your feet. And I'm finally starting to get them in order, and trying to stay shoe free as long as I'm in the house, and give the old feet a different kind of exercise. So that's what I was doing a minute ago. But anyway, and 8 or 9 years ago, probably started in earnest probably 10 or 11 years ago. I would come up here on a regular basis and start looking for a place. And, that was on the tail end of that 2008 real estate debacle. And, let's see, we bought here in 16. So from about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years before we finally moved here, I was up here pretty regular looking for a place. And finally, right at the end of that, where that bubble had deflated and it was fixing to inflate back up, I was fortunate enough to find a place up here. And I have been here since 16, I think. Yeah, 16. And I still worked. I was fortunate. Well, I don't know how fortunate that was, but I had a job where I traveled, and my home base could be anywhere, and it was here. And I'm still a stranger. I understand that, and I'll be a stranger, I guess, as long as anybody who's been here longer than me outlives me. So I may always be a stranger, but I try to get along all right, stay to myself and stay to the woods and enjoying my homestead and all that. So anyway, that's it for me. That's how I got here. I mentioned Wolford Baptist Church, I guess, nearly every week. Bill Barker over there, he puts out a message on Rabun County Facebook. I think he does it daily, but he puts out a message pretty regular, and I appreciate him doing that. Um, if y'all get a chance to check him out, I know some of you do, because I see that there's 600 uh, views or hits a week. So, in a county with what, 17,000 people, that's a pretty good hit ratio right there. I'd say, Bill, congratulations and thank you, sir. I am grateful that you do that every week. I normally catch it early in the morning, and it's a great way to get going every morning. The old spiritual lessons in the AM. Thank you. Also, what else we got going here? I hope everyone else has something grateful to be here for this past week. And if this is your first time tuning in, like I said, we're a community of like-minded folks who care about the same things: hunting, fishing, protecting our family, our land, our culture, in this special corner of Georgia we call home. Every Thursday we gather right here to share stories, updates, tips, and tales worth remembering. Tonight I had a couple things. Tonight we're talking about two different kinds of silence, one from the past and one that's trying to sneak into the future. And plural for you, thank you for helping me out with this. But we'll be winding back the clock here in a little while and talking about a couple of them. But in the interim, yeah, got that road squared away. I still got to get it back out there. Man, I swear I spend about a week once a year or twice a year getting out there working that thing. I got a little old Kubota tractor, I don't know, 23 horsepower, little bitty thing. And then a buddy of mine was Brandon, and he cuts my hair, and he was gracious enough to sell me a old box blade that at scrap value that'd been around the place for a while, and I put some new ripping teeth on it, and I learned how to use that. And I had old scrape blade, and I got out there and learned how to work the ditches. And the old road has been around a long time, and it ain't hardly got enough material to build a proper, what do you call it, where it's domed over, where it's got a crown. I ain't got nearly enough material, but I keep working at it. And just to do it neighborly, ain't no financial reward in it. I do it because I want to be a good neighbor, and the wife appreciates it, so she don't have to drive her Subaru up a beat up old road. Me, I don't care. And I talk about this every week, and I hadn't done anything about it. I was hoping a couple different items here. I was hoping somebody'd help get me motivated, a partner, a mastermind group, or somebody, to see if we can't motivate some manufacturing outfit to come into town, into the county here, and start manufacturing some clothing and maybe a shoe manufacturer, high quality stuff. I know a long time ago I used to sell pattern paper to clothing manufacturers. That's the first job I ever had when I got out of out of college, and I would visit up through here, and they still produced. As a matter of fact, they had the old Fruit of the Loom. I think they made underwear or shirts or something up there in the old business park, and I was a part of the demolition crew that went in there and took all that out to make room for additional things, some kind of wholesale retail fronts or something like that. I'm not sure what it was, but there's space in this county. I know there's a couple warehouse spaces where manufacturing could be put back in. We just need somebody to find the interest, King was cotton one time in the South, and I believe we can make it again. We put in some cotton mills and make some good denim factories, some good material for shirts and things like that. I think that'd be a real good thing to have some kind of manufacturing back in this county. Uh, it's mostly here in the little town that I live in. It caters to, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it caters to, um, people who live on the lake and lake dwellers and services and restaurants and things like that. But I think if some real honest jobs in manufacturing could come back in, that it would be a big benefit to the county. So if any of y'all think that's a good idea, let's get together. Maybe we could go to some of these business organizations they got here in the county and start talking it up. But I'm just starting right here in my own little corner, trying to develop this community service so we can get together and start talking about things like that. Hasn't taken off quite yet, but I'm going to stay with it. So if you scroll by this and give it a listen, make sure you come in here on Thursday evenings and start yakking it up with me. Even if you tell me what a dummy I am, I'd appreciate it. Give me something to at least try and consider, Anyway, another thing there, the old Darnell shooting range. I told you I've talked with Twanda, or I don't remember her name, in the Chattanooga River Ranger District. And I have made contact with her up there in that big fancy building they got down there around Tiger. Not had a chance to meet her personally, but I've spoken with her on the phone, so I've made that contact, and I expressed the interest of trying to get that road back in order, going to that Darnell shooting rifle range of, I think it's in Dillard, over there off Kelly Creek. It'd be real nice to have that thing up and going again, so that people who hunt would have an opportunity to sight the rifles in and enjoy in fellowship and get to know each other and have a community place to do that for the old outdoors kind of guys. Y'all excuse me, I'm trying to adjust this old video here. And that would be a wonderful thing to do. Now, I've been talking about this every week, that we live in one of the most wonderful places. We've been named officially the waterfall capital of Georgia. And we're getting state recognition. That means more people. And I think we should welcome them. We should welcome them to come up here and enjoy the amazing scenery that we have. Enjoy the cool waters, the cool, clean waters, and the fresh air. Relaxing in the somewhat cooler weather, being out of the ozone that shrouds from Gainesville south, I would imagine. Well, you can see the old brown haze if you drive in the sunlight, and at particular times of day, you can see the old oxides just floating like a big old dome over the top of that concrete jungle down there. And they come here, some go south, some come up here to get away from that stuff, and I think we should welcome them. But one thing that we must, this is our county, this is our home, and we must insist that they respect our home and leave it cleaner than what they found it, actually. That has always been the rule for the outdoors person, to leave the place you come to cleaner than you found it. I know the Boy Scouts teach that, and I know I learned that growing up. My exercise that. I can't name the number of times I picked up trash on a trail and put it in my pocket and brought it home. And I hope you do the same, but we must insist that if people come into our home, even though it's their property too, I understand that totally. It's a national forest in here. And please come visit us. But remember, this is our home. We live here all the time, and you're a visitor. And we want you to come, but we want you to make sure that you honor our home and clean it. Make sure you clean up after yourselves and manage your fires. We don't need any big fires up here. That's a big danger thing, especially, well, we've had a pretty wet year, but in the past now, I think in 1966, there was a big fire. And then several years ago, we had some big fires up here. So it happens. Uh, but if we all do our due diligence and manage our fire rings and things like that on our campsites, we can certainly reduce the possibility of something like that happening. Uh, Now, I don't want you to think I'm a tree hugger or anything crazy like that, but I just think that's just natural responsibility that you ought to be taken care of. Um, and that's kind of a response I read in the Clayton County or the Clayton Tribune uh, that Melody Ann Reeves wrote a letter to the editor and said that this is the people's land up here. And I agree with that, but we live here. And if they're, we encourage them to come visit, but if they're going to come visit Marianne, what was her name again? Melody Ann. If they're going to come visit Melody Ann, I hope you're on board with making sure that they take care of the land. And that means managing their fires and cleaning up after themselves and leaving it cleaner than what they found it. Anyway, let's move along. I told you last week I got my drones registered, re-registered, so I'm good to fly. If y'all need some drone work, some kind of real estate, any kind of thing like that, I can do it for you. If you're a farmer out there, Osage, or any of you farmers out there in the Wolford, you'd like to see what your crops look like from an aerial view. If you don't have anybody in your organization that flies a drone and looks for either low places that cause productivity because of too much water, or you need to take a look at some fertilizer patterns or drainage patterns or anything like that, I am available. I'll come out and do your bidding. Keep me fresh in the drone flying business. I've done a lot in the construction. So if you've got a project going on and you want to capture the progress of a house, even if you're somebody who's not in the county yet, who's building something, if you're a builder and you want to see an update on progress update, I'm available to do that kind of work for you. Don't mind doing it. I like doing it, and that's part of what I do in my daily routines out there. Excuse me. And also, I've always been a kind of a amateur herbalist, and it's hard to get me to cut the plantain and the pokeweed and all that stuff. I have a tendency to let it grow, and I'll let the collard greens reseed naturally, and the collard greens reseed naturally, and the turnips, and I'll just let it, a lot of it go to seed and reseed itself and let it cycle through. And I'm kind of that kind of guy. And I do some studies on the mushrooms, lion's mane and stuff. Some of the edible stuff, they got me, they scare you with that stuff, telling you that some of it's deadly poison. Yeah, I understand that. Got me and my son-in-law talking about this the other day. Deer. Man, there's some crazy deer around here this time of year. Standing in lawns and stuff like that. Normally when you drive by them, they dash off like they're being hunted down. But now they barely look up and see what's going on, put their head back down in there. And I wonder if they find them that old psilocybin mushroom stuff down in there, them Liberty caps or them whatever them other ones are, got that special kind of little stuff in it. Son-in-law mentioned the reindeer did that, ate them old fungi that made them feel funny or made them feel like they enjoy them a whole lot. And I wonder if the deer around here is damn keyed on that stuff, cause they just stand there and look at me like they don't. They just looking at me different. I guess it's that time of year where, and I see them. The grandson and I were out in the yard the other day and we were pointing out all the different kinds of mushrooms. So I imagine that's what they're keying on right now. If you know anything about that, give me a comment. Give me a comment and let me know what you're thinking. If you're a herbalist out there, and also, what do they call that stuff? Them old pink flowers on them trees? Mimosas. Them mimosa trees out there. Got them pink flowers on. Now I understand, and somebody who's watching, I understand that those pink flowers and the bark on that tree, when you make a tincture out of it, and they say use alcohol to make the tincture, and I'm not sure, but they say that it will make you feel euphoric. I don't know if it's the alcohol that you make the tincture with or the chemical in the plant, but if you know anything about that, let me know. Send me a message. I'd like to really know something about that. Next thing is, man, I told you that we had captured a hog on the trail cam here on the property. But now there appears to be two, and they're holding over on the old feed that the son-in-law is putting out there, or the mineral block or whatever. They're getting their bellies full, and it's starting to upset him. And he says, I'm just go out there and shoot my, the only prohibition I have is you just don't kill them and waste them. That upsets me. Now, if somebody out there who tunes past this has a taste for that old wild boar, and would want them for food source, let me know, because I'm just as anxious as he is to get shed of them, but I don't want to waste them. I don't believe in wasting any kind of thing like that. Now they tell me that them old wild hogs domesticate real fast. That they'll lose their tusk and they'll end up being domesticated in pretty short order. And you fatten them up, feed them out. Now, I don't know if there's some kind of licensure. I just read that not long ago. About if you can kill them if they're on private property, there is no season. But you got to have some kind of license or something like that to transport them. Let's see here. I had something else I wanted to talk to you about, and I can't find it now. It was squirrel season. Squirrel season. And we was talking about them old hogs. It's time to move along. If you know anything about hogs or know anybody wants a hog, you let me know. We see if we can't get it worked out for them. Last week, and we're gonna get squirrel season. It starts the middle of August. It runs way out into February now. Anybody wants some squirrel? I got some fat ones hanging around this place too. If y'all want to do, just don't show up. Get in touch with me. Send me a note if you favor that squirrel meat, or somebody needs them hides for fly tying or whatever. Squirrel tail, I think, and some of the hide you can make real good wet flies with that stuff. Lord knows you can make 100 flies off of one darn hide, but if you're into that flavor, and I'm not hungry, if I I've eaten squirrel before, and I'm not opposed to eating it, but I guess I'm gonna have to have me a squirrel dinner because they're getting pretty heavy around here. And you know, you get a too big a population, and then all of a sudden they're inbreeding. You got three-eyed squirrels running around here, and an unhealthy population. I don't want that either. But there's that big old bobcat now that we got out here. He's a lean machine. I've seen that devil jump. I guarantee you that devil jumped 20 feet. I got a shooting lane that runs up to the top of the driveway, and I caught him one time just making that leap. And I was like, good Lord. And son-in-law's got some snapshots of him on the trail cam. He's a healthy devil. So he keeps them in check, and I ain't seen my turkeys in a while. That's my biggest fear. I was really hoping to get a nice flock of turkeys around here is what I was hoping for. But yeah, you know, nature is nature. They come and go. I hadn't seen any in a long time. Then I have a couple of hens hanging around, and now I'm not seeing them hanging around. They might have moved on to greener pastures. Might be hanging out down there by the cemetery, and they might be on them mushrooms too, like them old deer. You never know. Anyway, got squirrel season. So if y'all know anybody that likes them old hogs, let me know. If you know anybody that likes squirrel meat, let me know. And fishing, catfishing. Boy, you seen some guys out there doing them, hooking up on them big old cats, them old blue cats and channel cats. But I like a little fried catfish now and then with them hush puppies. That's good stuff, man. So hope you fishermen, if y'all know a good place and you think there's too many catfish, let me know. Post something on here. I might want to go fishing with you one evening. Sit out there and shoot. I'll get my harmonica fixed up, get it cleaned up, and sit there and by the lake, push out a couple tunes and catch some catfish. Anyway, y'all let me know. I'm going to talk about it some more. I think that covered the hunting and fishing. Last week we talked about some old rude behavior people having. If you see somebody being rude, just say, man, that's awful rude. And two or three of you get together, and I ain't suggesting we incite no violence. I'm opposed to that kind of thing. But when somebody's misbehaving, if you call them out, you ain't just call them out and move along. Then and there's enough people doing it. That's good for society. The old news. Somebody was on the Facebook, and they're talking about sheriff's department posting pictures and charges on people. They didn't like this, and they didn't like that, and they didn't like it. And of course, some of them was the ones that was on them pictures that was talking about they didn't like it. I dig it. I understand. Nobody wants to be called out. And my only response was, and still is, if they're charged and they're found guilty, then I believe that we should post their charges and a photograph of them, so that shame and humiliation is good for society. It helps maintain a peaceful society. And I say that, and I guess I would be willing to face the consequences. And there's some things I'm not especially proud of I have done in the past, but I never want to do them again because I didn't want to shame my family. I didn't want people to think my family raised up them kind of folks. So I think it's appropriate. If you disagree with me, let me know. And that's fine. You can disagree with me. I've been living in disagreement all my life. Anyway, rude people. And that old PSC. Boy, I got my darn power bill for June. Nothing's changed. The settings in the house. Matter of fact, I've improved efficiency by doing some upgrades on my daggum HVAC system. But it's official. It's official. Yep. Power bill is officially doubled. Georgia Power has officially doubled, according to my records, and I keep fairly accurate records. Georgia Power has officially doubled their rates. And this has just been the past couple years, maybe 3 years. They have doubled their rates. And you throw that on top of the county taxes, a 20% increase year over year in Rabun County? Are you kidding me? All I can say is Georgia Power and Rabun County, shame on y'all. Shame on y'all. Let me get my coffee. Hold on a minute. And then the school taxes went up too. And now I believe children need children need education. I agree with that. But man, are we? I remember when I was a kid, my daddy never had to send no money to school for pencils and paper. I think that was included in the education. You know, the Department of Education included that in just part of it. But it might have something to do with them unions, you know. Hey, if we get them to pay for the school materials, and we ain't got to, and we keep that money and build Power as being an organization, you know, union, we get more money, or get a little from the teachers every month. And I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me your thoughts on that. And here's another thing I'm curious about. I need to find out. I need to call that Board of Education to see if they've got technical training in that school. You know, pushing kids toward the academic. I think that's fine if that child is so inclined to do that, and if he has the capacity and the mental wherewithal to do that. But by golly, over the next 10 years, we need tradesmen. We need tradesmen right now. I think Mike Rose said we need 5 to 7 million tradespeople right now. And they're making good money. A lot of them are making more than the white collar guys, because we need them that bad. But try and hire somebody to come out to your house and do some work around the place. See how it turns out for you. Try and hire somebody to come out and build you a deck. If you're a hustler and you can do that, you'll make your money. But I will get there. Well, we'll come see you in February. Give us about 3 months. We'll be by there. By then, they get a better offer for a bigger deal where they make more money, and they adios your butt. Anyway, considerations. So if you know if we got a technical program here in the county, let me know. If not, maybe we ought to pressure the school into turning their attention to some of that kind of stuff. Clayton Farmers Market. Clayton Farmers Market got a garlic festival this weekend. I ain't ever had a garlic pie, but they have a contest who can make the best garlic pie. Got a contest going on, see who can make the best garlic hat. I ain't never seen a garlic hat. I wonder if you can get it cheaper there. If somebody, chops it up, because I buy it by the big old jar. Every few months I'll go get a big old jar at the grocery store. Kind of expensive, but I like to keep it on hand. I like to flavor my food with garlic and onion. Oh boy, I did it today too. Took that old white vinegar, mixed it half and half with water, and put in a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, some peppercorns and sliced up some onions and cucumbers and jalapenos and put it in a bowl and put it in the refrigerator. Ooh wee. That's good on, man, old flour tortilla and some refried beans. That makes me a lunch. I'm talking about a fine lunch too. If you do that kind of thing, let me know. Send me a message or text or whatever you call these things. Make a note. I wonder if I can do myself. I've never done this before. I'm going to do that. See what happens. Rabun County Rag, here I go. I give myself a message. Now y'all give me a message. Send me something special. So Clayton Farmers Market, if y'all like that garlic, this is the weekend to go and check it out and have you a taste of that old garlic pie. I might have to just go try that. I wonder how much sugar's in it. You know, I've been trying to watch my sugar. I gotta go see old Doc Beck on the. When I gotta go see Doc Beck? I think it's the 31st. Next Thursday. He's gonna want to check my blood sugar, and if it ain't right, he's gonna give me grief, and I'm gonna have to tighten up on the diet even more. Man, doggone it. I like some old cake and ice cream, but dadgummit, man. I guess I want to be around a little longer, agitate all these kids and grandkids I got, so I guess I'll watch it. Watch my diet. But anyway, and one more thing here. In the community lineup that I know of. Now, there may be a bunch of stuff out there, and y'all can sure send a text and get involved in telling people what's going on around here by using the old messaging thing or comment section or whatever on this live stream. You can start pumping it up with things you know are going on, but these are the things that pique my interest. And, I may overlook some really neat stuff that other people would find interesting. So, anyway, please send some kind of message in here and join us every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. But anyway, where I was going is there's a gun auction. The details, I think you could, starting on the 28th, which is Monday, you could start previewing these, and they said they got like 350 guns. And it's a local auction company, K&B Auction. You can give them a call at 706-746-5479 or go to kandbauction.com and check it out. If you need a gun, you're looking for a handgun, you're looking for a shotgun, rifle, whatever you need. If you got one you've been looking for to add to your collection, they might have exactly what you're looking for. So give it a look out and see what you think. And now it's my assistant gave me some things that I thought I might want to talk about. And one of them, and I talked a little bit, I don't know if I talked about it last week or not, moonshine and mountain law. See, there was a time, I'm going to bring it over here so I can read a little better. See, there was a time when Rabun County was one of Georgia's top moonshining territories. Not just for the fun of it, but for a lot of folks, it was just how you got through the winter. Farming didn't always pay the bills. Soil was thin, the work was hard, and the money was, well, about as scarce as hen's teeth. So they built stills, quietly, cleverly, deep in the woods, buried in cellars, tucked into caves, hidden in brush piles along the Chattooga and Tallulah. Some say there wasn't a single hollow in Rabun County that didn't have a still running at one time or another. The biggest raid folks remember happened out near the Tallulah River. Revenuers from both Georgia and North Carolina teamed up and dynamited a 4,300-gallon still. Sent suds and mash flying across the forest. You could smell corn liquor in the air for a half a mile. Now, not all of them were that big, but they were built smart, cooled with car radiators. Some poisoned folks, sure, but they made do with what they had. And those old Fords, Lord, they'd soup 'em up to outrun the law. Now, rumor says one Rabun County runner hit 150 miles an hour in second gear. Another time, a deputy leapt onto a shine truck on Main Street in Clayton and got tossed clean off when the driver veered toward War Woman Road. Families survived because of Shine. It wasn't just liquor, it was a legacy. It was resilience. Some called it illegal. Around here, we called it making do. And maybe we could use a little bit more of that fire now. Amen. Not necessarily the booze and the moonshine, but the spirit. I think we could use a little bit more of the spirit. You know, Rabun County has been never picked a side. They've always been on the edge of anarchy, and I think that's good. Another thing that I'd really like to talk about is the modern land grab. Because today the threat ain't coming from the woods, it's coming from the real estate office, from the developers, from the out-of-state speculators. We're in the middle of what I'd call a quiet land grab. No neon signs, no big fuss, just quiet closings, one ridge at a time, one farm, one old family plot. And when you look up, the horizon's changed. You might drive by and say, wasn't there a cow pasture there? Now it's half cleared with a bulldozer and some blueprints. One more hunting spot gone. One more stream fenced off. They're selling Rabun County in pieces, and they're doing it quiet. We gotta be louder. And here's some things we can do. Watch the zoning boards. Show up to those meetings. Ask questions at the courthouse. Talk to your neighbors. Let folks know we've got opinions. Conservation easements, heritage trusts, or just plain refusing to sell unless it's to someone who shares our values. We ain't just protecting views. We're protecting what it means to live here. I might post that on old Facebook. What y'all think? Send me a message and tell me. We talked about them old flatheads. They're active right now. Lake Birdsea Lake and Rabun Lake. Best time to drop a line right about dusk into the night. Set up near a rocky shoreline or structure. Cast out some cut bait, chicken liver, or even a dough ball if you're old school. A lantern, a lawn chair, and some bug spray, and I'll bring the harmonica or the mandolin or the ukulele. And if you land a big one, or even if you don't, send me some photos. We're building the Rag Catfish Wall of Fame. And hey, if your grandma had a catfish stew recipe worth remembering, I want it. Let's preserve that too. And I think I talked about War Woman Dale once before. While we're on the subject of roots, let's talk about War Woman Dale. Just outside of Clayton lies this beautiful patch of forest crisscrossed with streams and tall trees. But it ain't just a pretty walk. It's sacred ground. It's history. The name War Woman comes from a Cherokee woman named Nancy Ward, who held the position of peacemaker and protector. She was a respected voice among the Cherokee, and the Dale was part of a vital trading route through the mountains. Some say it was used for war councils. Others believed it was a meeting place, a path for scouts, a stronghold, and Cherokee resistance. Today it's a picnic area. But I say when you stand there and let the quiet fall in, you can feel that old spirit in the moss and rock. Take your kids, tell them what it meant, and that's how we keep our culture alive. All right. That's, thank you, Pluriflora. I appreciate that. If y'all got a story you want to share, man, be sure you tune in here and let me know. And yeah, I can set up a studio. You come visit with me. I got an office here. We can set up a studio and you can share your stories. I've been thinking about that. If y'all are part of the Rabun Historical Society, my question is, do you guys do video histories? You know, have somebody come in, some of the people who are fading away, who, you know, you've written a story, but you want to capture their voice and their expressions and their nuances of who they are to go with that written word. Let me know, because I can set up a studio and we can do some recording, and we can record some of their stories and get them out there. I'd really like to do that. Money ain't the thing either. I can volunteer some time each week and we can make that happen. And then we could set up a YouTube channel and publish that stuff on a regular basis. I think that would be good. You know, it don't have to be once a week. It could be once a month. It could be twice a month, where you publish an interview with someone and where they talked about their kind of life. And if they got pictures, we could add pictures into the video and create something for the community. And we can make a copy of it and give to them for a keepsake that they could pass along to their heritage, their children, their grandchildren, so that they would know how they lived and have a fuller grasp of who they are and where they've come from. Anyway, if that's something that appeals to you and you're a part of that organization, let me know. Let's get together. I want to do something like that. I want to give to this community. That's been such a fortunate place for me to live, and I feel like it's home to me. I've never really enjoyed being anywhere I've ever been in my life. I guess it's like me and my father. He feels his roots is in the coast of Georgia, down where what is the name? Fort Frederica, where the Wesley boys visited, and a rich Methodist heritage, and that's where he lives, and that's where he feels his home is. And he says, I come from my granddaddy's side, because they said granddaddy was a rascal and he wandered down the Shenandoah Valley and ended up all the way down there on the coast where he met my grandmama. That's the way I understand it now. Dad, if you watch this and I got it wrong, let me know and I'll straighten it out. And anyway, that's one of the things that, and if y'all are a part of that, let me know. And I guess I could cold call in on them, but doggone it, man, I'm just as bashful as everybody else. I figure I'm a stranger and they'll think I'm intruding, got some ulterior motive or some crazy stuff like that. And I just got the motive of wanting to be a good neighbor and help a hand. That's all I want to be. So if you think about that, let me know. But we're running down on the time here. Got about 7 minutes left, and I think I've about covered everything. Let me look. Let me move some stuff around. I got so many screens open, boys and girls. I'm sitting here trying to look at this stuff. Hey, let's talk about, this is a section toward the end here. We always want to talk about things that are for sale and things that are wanted. So if you got some old equipment around, or you got what you look at no longer need and you'd like to get shed of it, somebody can find value in it like you once found value in it. Here's an opportunity and a place where you can share that. Whether it's an old tractor or an old piece of farm implement, a hen box or frying pans or whatever you got that you'd like to clean up out your junk pile, and find somebody to find value in it, here's a place to do it. Right now I ain't got nothing for sale, but I'm getting to the age where I need to start thinking about selling stuff so I don't have to leave a pile of crap for all the kids. I know it's all going to end up at it's either going to end up in the landfill, it's going to end up at the Goodwill or the thrift store or something. And all the pictures and the paintings I got to be tore out so somebody can reuse the frames. I know where it goes. I've seen it all before. But anyway, this is, if you got something you think somebody'd be interested in, here's your opportunity. Send a message and we'll post it, and I'll even talk about it if I know something about it. And let's get it going or get it had, how you want to look at it. Now, you know, for a long time there, I was talking about needing hay, mulch hay, and I finally got that mulch hay thanks to old Mr. Frank Hickox over there. And I think his place is called Knob Farm over there in Tiger. I think they raise sheep or goats. I can't remember what he told me he had. But if you need some mulch hay, look him up. I caught him on Facebook. And I need to go get some more. I need to get it before it's gone. I'd like to have a good thick bed of mulch on this garden this winter. You know, I'm trying to, the weeds come up pretty good, but you know, my wife, she can't stand the weed, and me, I'm neither here nor there on the thing, but she got out there the other day and weeded the garden. I asked her, I said, them weeds come up pretty good, you know, grass and weeds. And she goes, yeah, it came up pretty easy. So that mulching does have some benefit, you know, easy to weed, keeps the ground moisture and the ground soft. So roots grow in loosely, but they grow kind of, you know, in there, and keeps them cool, keeps the roots cool. So if y'all need some mulch, hay mulch, get a hold of Mr. Hickok. I'm sure he's got some left. He said he had quite a bunch. I'm still looking for a harrow disc. I'd like to have one of the big ones. I'm gonna make me one of them frying pans. I know I talk about it, but them old boys that run that, it's a Mexican El Campo. They cook everything on a fire. And they showed how to make one of those. They're in the rural area, and they took one off an old farm implement and made a cook pan out, put some handles on it, and filled it in the hole in the middle with a piece of iron, welded it up and polished it up and heated it up, and made a wonderful frying pan out of it, a cook pan. And I'd like to make one. I'd like to have one of them. I'd get out here, and when I ever finish them stairs, I might put me a little fire table out there, because they got a little table. Now right at hip height, you know, and they build a fire right there at hip height, and build a fire and put some rocks on it and place that pan on there. And matter of fact, I think they just recently graduated and made a triangle shaped thing with, you know, 3 legs, and they set that on there so it has a stable place, and use them rocks to hold the heat in. And they cook some wonderful and it's always fresh food they cook. And if you ever get to check them out, it's called Ruta Nueve. Ruta Nueve. ROUTENUEVA. Ruta Nueve on the old YouTube. I like watching them boys. I think it's a daddy and a couple sons and some aunts, and it's a family thing. And every now and then they'll bring somebody who owns a restaurant will come in and show what they specialize in their restaurant, and it's all cooked on open fire. And you see them get that old smoke in their face every now and then. That's kind of funny, but they laugh and have a good time, and that's the best way to cook, when you've got camaraderie and you're talking about life and you're talking about the good things and you're talking about the challenges and how you overcome them. I really do like watching them guys, and you should check them out. Anyway, we're running out of time. Let's just, this is a call to action. And this is what I'm asking. Let's be the kind of community that remembers its stories and protects its future. Let's teach our young folks to be proud of where they come from, not just for the scenery, but for the strength. Let's hunt, fish, vote, speak up, and stand guard. Let's tell the truth even when it's hard, and let's hand down the good stuff to those who come after us. We've still got a strong heartbeat here in Rabun County, but we've got to keep it that way by being loud when they expect us to be quiet, by standing up when the ground starts to shift. I want to thank you for spending your Thursday with me and for riding along on the rag. Until next time, keep your powder dry, your land wild, and your roots deep. I'll see you in the woods, or we'll be back here next weekend. And as always, have a grateful day, and we'll see you next week.